That night didn't seem special to anyone who didn't know the story. There are no flashes of lights, no camera noise, no crowds of fans, or leaked official schedules. But it was precisely in that simplicity that a conversation took place. One that many fans later believed to be one of the most honest and defining moments in Jungkook and Taehyung's relationship. According to stories circulating slowly among the army, Jungkook and Taehyung spent time together in a quiet place, away from the hustle and bustle of the city and the demands of the entertainment world. They're not in a hurry, not seen discussing work. All that appears are two people sitting opposite, with calm but emotionally charged body language. Jungkook was more silent at the beginning, as if he was gathering the courage to say something that he had kept to himself. For Jungkook, speaking the truth is not easy. From a young age, he grew up in a system that demanded discipline, perfection, and endurance without gaps. He is known as a strong, hard-working figure, always appearing stable before the public. But behind the image, there's a fatigue that is rarely spoken. That night, in Taehyung's presence, Jungkook is rumored to have finally let the layer crumble. Many fans believe that Jungkook's confession is not about one specific problem, but rather about the accumulated feelings that have accumulated over the years. About the pressure to always be the best. About the fear of disappointing those who love him. About the feeling of emptiness that sometimes arises even after the greatest achievements. The words may not sound dramatic, but it is precisely his honesty that makes them heavy. Taehyung, on the other hand, is known as a sensitive listener. He is not the type to give straightforward solutions or lengthy advice. In many of his earlier moments, Taehyung shows that he understands the emotions of others in a silent way, through presence, gaze, and patience. That night, he reportedly listened more, making room for Jungkook to speak without fear of being judged. Jungkook and Taehyung's own relationship had been built long before the world knew BTS as big as it is now. They went through difficult times together, sharing living spaces, dreams, and fears that only those who grew up within the same system could understand. Therefore, when Jungkook chose Taehyung as the place to lean on that night, many fans felt that the choice made a lot of sense. Not everyone deserves to hear the most honest confession, only those who really understand that in the imagination of many army. The conversation went slowly. There were long pauses. There was a moment where Jungkook fell silent, perhaps staring off into the distance, before continuing his sentence. There was a moment where Taehyung just nodded slowly, as if to say that he heard, understood, and remained. The silence between them is not an emptiness, but a safe space. Speculation is also growing that the confession touches on the future. About uncertainty, about change, about what it is like to be at a point in life where everything is already achieved, but the questions are precisely more and more. Jungkook, who has been known to go with the flow with dedication, may be starting to ask himself what he really wants as an individual. And Taehyung, with his reflective point of view, might be the right person to hear that unease without demanding an instant answer. What makes this story so powerful is the fan reaction. There is no demand to know the details of the content of the confession. There is no pressure for Jungkook or Taehyung to confirm anything. What emerges is empathy. Many in the army wrote messages of support, saying that if Jungkook had a heart-to-heart with Taehyung that night, then it was their right. In an entertainment industry that often demands excessive openness, moments like this are rare. Two idols choose privacy, prefer real conversations rather than public narratives. And ironically, the decision not to share anything actually made fans feel closer emotionally. Over time, the story about the night developed into a symbol. A symbol that even a figure as powerful as Jungkook needs a safe place to be honest. That courage does not always mean appearing tough in front of the world, but also daring to admit weakness to a trusted person. And that Taehyung, with all his complexity and depth, is a figure capable of being a support in silence. Did the conversation really change everything? No one can be sure, but many believe that the night at least changed something inside Jungkook. Maybe he came home with a slightly lighter load. Perhaps he feels no longer alone with his thoughts. And perhaps, for Taehyung, That night strengthened a bond that had been there for a long time. A bond that didn't need to be announced to be real. That in the end, this story does not come alive because of confirmed facts, but because of emotions that feel real. He reminded that behind the glitter of the stage and the cheers of fans, there are people who are still learning to understand themselves. And that night, in a quiet place, Jungkook and Taehyung may have proved that an honest conversation, though unheard of by the world, can be the turning point that matters most. The conversation, in the shadow of many, did not end with any major conclusions or dramatic decisions. No promises are spoken out loud. No plans are set in stone. Quite the contrary, you may end up with a simple relief, with a breath that feels deeper, with the feeling that for the first time in a long time, a person really hears without trying to change anything. Some fans imagine that after the confession was spoken, the atmosphere became lighter. Not because the problem is gone, but because the burden is no longer borne alone. Jungkook, who has always been known to assume responsibility with a smile, may be feeling something he rarely allows himself to feel, being accepted for who he is without expectations. Taehyung, in his calm manner, might just say simple sentences that don't sound patronizing, but are enough to affirm that Jungkook's feelings are valid. Some believe that the night was the point at which Jungkook began to be more true to himself. Not in front of the camera, not in front of the world, but in the inner space that he has been closely guarding. Such conversations do not change life immediately, but often become the beginning of small, meaningful changes. How to look at yourself, how to forgive yourself when tired, how to allow yourself to be not always strong. For Taehyung, that night may also have left a trace. Being a safe place for someone is not a light role. It takes empathy, patience, and courage to stay, even when the story you hear feels heavy. But many believe that Taehyung actually found meaning in the role. That being a listener to Jungkook is not an obligation, but rather a choice born of a long-established bond. As the days passed, no noticeable changes were seen from the outside. Jungkook is still a professional. Taehyung remains his expressive and artistic self. But for sensitive fans, there might be something different. A slightly calmer gaze, a smile that feels more genuine, or the way they interact that suggests a deepening closeness. Small changes that can only be felt, not proven. The story of that night continues to live as a reminder that behind great images and great achievements, there are human needs that never change. To be heard, understood, and accompanied. And if it was true that night Jungkook chose Taehyung as the place to tell the truth, then it was a reflection of a very deep trust. In the end, perhaps the world does not need to know what is actually spoken. Because the real meaning of the conversation lies not in the words, but in the courage to speak and the willingness to listen. In that quiet place, away from the spotlight, Jungkook